have to do it all the time.
Yes.
And you can't just think that somebody else is going to raise your children for you. You have to do it all of the time. And, I know that it's an ongoing struggle. It is. And if you are out there and you're doing things that are not the best in terms of parenting practices, every day is a new day for you to change. Even if you have crossed the line and you have been abusive, take responsibility for what you have done, move on and do something different. We're going to get to our 4-point star, as a matter of fact, since we are just winding down in time. Our 4-point star today is a tongue twister. In fact, we had to practice it together, and hopefully I can say it without biting myself. Our 4 points today, I'll say it first and then we'll say it together, are age, stage, rage, and wage. Let's say them together. Age, stage, rage, and wage. Number 1. Age. Consider the chronological age of your child when you are thinking about spanking. The child should be old enough for you to stand them up and swat them on the bottom while clothed and while they are standing. 1 to 3 swats with an open hand, and it should be effective. So what does that mean? If the child is 1 year old or less, they're too young, they can't stand. And if they are older than 12, it's not going to be effective. So you may want to look at some other forms of punishment for children who are older than 12. Number 2, stage. Consider the developmental, emotional, and physical stage of your child. If your child has a developmental disability, some sort of emotional disability, or physical abnormality, you really need to take that into consideration before you decide to spank that particular child, because spanking is not an effective form of punishment, nor is it an appropriate form of punishment for all children. If your child developmentally is not where they're supposed to be, they may not even understand what's going on. And whenever you are spanking, you always want to process why you're doing what you're doing, and you want to ask the child, what did they do and what should they have done? Not why, because I can tell you what the answer is. I don't know. They don't know why. Okay? They have no idea. So you always want to process that. Next, rage. How mad are you? Look at your anger. Give yourself a timeout before administering punishment. It is always best to think it through and think about why you're doing what you're doing, because what you don't want to have to do is to answer to a group of strangers and explain to them why you punished your child in that way. It's better to ask yourself first, why am I punishing him or her in this way, and be able to give yourself a rational answer. Next, wage. Remember this. A wage is payment, right? And punishment is payment for misbehavior. So, is the wage that you're giving out equal to the misbehavior? You don't take a brick to kill a fly. So you don't have to overly punish somebody for something. Sometimes a natural consequence will work. For an example, you have a child, they're running in the house, you told them not to run, they knock over a lamp. Use a natural consequence. Clean it up, and you're going to have to work to pay and buy me a new lamp. A beating is not required for that. So you have to think about that. And then also, the wages of sin is death. So let's think about this. So let's say you teeter over into abuse. What wage do you have to pay? You may suffer the death of your freedom, the death of your relationship with your child's emotional well-being death, and maybe even the physical death of your child. So that's a very important and critical wage you need to consider. So again, our 4 points for today are age, stage, rage, and wage.